First, let me set some sandboxes. I will explain the deployment. Let me set the sandboxes list. I'll give 4 sandboxes. Try to use these 4 sandboxes and deploy the code between the sandboxes. Okay. So you people can take these sandbox credentials. You give the same password for all the sandboxes. This is the password. Right, you can use these sandboxes for deployment purpose. Now let us start. How do you create new sandbox? Now, how do you create new sandbox? If you want to create a new sandbox, setup, then we have deploy, sandboxes, new sandbox, type of sandbox, Then give the sandbox name. You want a copy of which sandbox? You want a copy of production or you want a copy of any other sandbox? You want to take a copy of production or you want to take a copy of any other sandbox? I want to take a copy of production. Which sandbox you want? Developer, pro, partial, full. So sandbox is created. It takes some time to activate. This is how we are creating the sandbox. Once the sandbox is created, we'll share the username password with the corresponding person. Okay, administrator will share the username password. Now I want to. This is the sandbox which is given to me. I'm logging into the sandbox. I want to make some development here. I want to make some development activities here. I want to deploy. Now look at this. So what is the deploy? Okay, development activity you're trying to do. Go to create objects. Now I want to take a couple of classes and triggers are here. First, let me go to production. In the production, if I have any objects, now look at this. You cannot delete a class from the production. You cannot delete a class from the production. You cannot delete a class from the production. You cannot delete a trigger from the production. We can only inactivate. We can only deactivate. So what I was doing here, I was going to this, create objects, then I had a new one. Okay. Now I was giving account info. Creating an object, account info. Now, choose the point what you require. Then I have name. What are the things you want to enable? Enable. All these things I'm doing on the sandbox. I'm creating an object, I'm creating a tab. Create some fields. Type organization. Couple of fields I was creating. Then I had a formula field. Tax. 10% of the tax. I want to write a validation rule. Object creation is done. Formula creation is done. Validation rules I want to write. Is blank of email. Right. This is how we have created. So object creation, formulas, fields. At the same time, I want to create a trigger for it. I want to create a trigger. I am making some changes and development activities on the object. Class. Public static void for account info. A dot type equal to this out I give. Info. Right. This is the operation. Try to define a trigger. Try to write a trigger. This is how we do. We are calling a class with a method. We are calling a class with a method and passing trigger dot. Calling a class with a method and invoking a method call me with a trigger dot. Now, if you want to deploy this, what you are supposed to do? Write the test class. If you want to deploy anything, it's a must that you have to deploy. Okay, write the test class for this. ACC. You know what I'm doing? At the rate of is this. Then account info because this trigger will be fired only when you insert a record. When I inserted the record, if trigger is working fine, what will happen? If trigger is working fine, the value of amount should be set as 50,000. Type should be set as person. This away. Then what we are doing? System dot asset equals asset equals now if it is running properly, the value of type should be modified as person, value of amount should be modified as 50%. If trigger is working properly, the following changes should happen. Now I wrote a SQL query and got the data, verified the data is modified or not. Am I right? If trigger is running properly, the data should be modified. Did the data has changed according to the requirement or not? I verified, then test it. Go to this code coverage 100%, trigger code coverage 100%. This is how we got. So now whatever the things I wrote, I want to deploy. Now I made some changes on the sandbox. The changes what I made, I want to deploy to the production. Whatever the changes I have made in the sandbox, I want to deploy them to production. How do you deploy them to production? Look at the point. First, if the changes are made in the sandbox, can they be deployed to the production or not? Is the first question. Production will not accept the changes from every sandbox. Production will not accept changes from every sandbox. Production will not accept the changes from every sandbox. Then if it is a question, then how can we enable the changes from this sandbox to production? How can we specify the production allow the changes from the sandbox? Then what should I do? Go to the production. Go to the production. In the production, we have deployment settings. Go to the production. In the production, we have deployment settings. Now, what is the sandbox we have used? UAT sandbox. Go to UAT sandbox. Click on edit. Then enable allow inbound changes. Where should I give this? Go to the production. Okay, there go to deployment settings. Then say allow inbound changes from the given sandbox. Allow inbound changes from the given sandbox. Then in that case, then this sandbox is allowed to deploy the changes from this environment to production. So I have to go to the production, enable the option called allow inbound changes. Once you are done with this, go to the setup, go to the deploy. What you are finding? Outbound change set. New outbound change set. Then whatever you want to deploy from sandbox to production, you are supposed to create them like a outbound change set. Whatever you want to deploy from say, okay, sandbox to production, you have to create them like a outbound change set. Then what we do? Now I'll say sprint 3 requirement from now I can say QA release QA release requirement 1.2 1.1 to 1.3. I have created so it's a QA release 2 requirement from 1.1 to 1.3. I'm going to embed in this change set and deploy. In the QA release, okay, the QA release version 2, I'm uploading the requirements 1.0.1 to 1.0.3 requirements, whatever the requirements they are given, that I'm implementing and I'm deploying it. Okay, give some meaningful name, generally what your company follows. Okay, then whatever you want to deploy, that I have to add them to change set component. Add. So I will go with the objects first. Account info. Add the object. Now we have view dependencies. Now every field should be added separately. Account info, trigger, page layout, Apex class, right? View. Every field should be added separately. Every field should be added separately. So trigger, classes, everything we are going to add them separately. Then add test class. So here we had, look at this, trigger, test class, one more class, info handler. Now all the things are added. Whatever I want to deploy, everything I have added here. What cannot be added here? Profile and user cannot be added here. What you cannot deploy from sandbox to production? Profiles, users you cannot deploy. That should be created directly in the production. Okay. Then, if you are making on any changes on existing profile, then we can apply, add profiles. Okay. Then this is how we are creating. Once you have created this, then what is the option we have? Upload. So what did I do? Created outbound change set. Created outbound change set. Then I uploaded. Then they're asking, where you want to upload? I enable only for production. In the other sandboxes also, if they enable allow inbound changes, that is. Now, with respect to the example, I only enable from production. Okay, if you want to deploy to any other sandbox, log into that sandbox. There you enable allow inbound changes. Whichever the sandbox on which I enabled allow inbound changes, those sandboxes also we can deploy. To that sandbox also we can deploy. Now I told production. Upload. So what did I do? I created a change set. I uploaded them to production. I created a change set. I uploaded them to production. Now this out, okay, whatever the change set I have created, that will go to the production. Okay, as inbound change set. That will go to the production as inbound change set. So what was the structure here? Now we need to wait for some time. The inbound changes will not be ready. Sandbox. Now here, whatever you want to deploy, you have to create them as outbound. You're supposed to create outbound change set. Then you are supposed to upload to production. When it is received in the production, it will be inbound change set. I hope you are good. Sandbox, you are creating outbound change set and you are uploading. Right. Right, boss. That will be received in the production as inbound change set. That will take some time. We need to wait for the files. Okay. Go to the production. The production. What we have? Inbound. Now, file is released. Now, what is the option we have? Validate. When you validate, we have three options. Default, run local test classes, run all test classes, run specific test classes. Try to understand this. The change set on a production. Here we have in the production. I have test class 1, test class 2. I have packages. So I have test class 4. Now this is a change set. Right. In the change set, there is no test classes. Then when I validate and if I select default, what is the option you have selected? Default. If the change set doesn't contain any test classes, when I choose an option called default, so no test classes will execute, directly the components will be deployed. If the change set doesn't contain any test classes, then when you choose a default, directly the elements will be deployed, no test classes will execute. Suppose if the test class contain, if the test classes are there, if these test classes are there, what will happen? When you say choose a default, test classes are there, then it will run the test classes which are in production, not the manager packages. Now look at the point. Now when you say default, if the change set contain any test classes, then which will happen? If this contain ABC test, then what happened? Test 1, test 2, test 3, ABC. Right. That is, if the change set contain any test class, then local test classes and the test classes in the change set will run. If the change set doesn't contain any test class, no test class from production will run. So depends upon the test classes are there or not on your change set, the execution will happen. Default, there are no test classes in change set, nothing is implemented. Default, there is some test classes in the change set. So the test classes in the change set and the local test classes in the production will be executed. I hope you're good. Then if I choose local test classes, all local, I have chosen run local test classes. So irrespective of change set contain test classes or not, all the local test classes will run. So if I say run all local, doesn't matter whether change set contain test classes or not. By default, what will happen? Test 1, test 2, test 3 will run. In case if the change set contain any test classes, they will also run. Did you get my point? Let me give you the choices here. Change set. No test classes. Default. Then what happened? No test classes in the production. They choose all the all the test classes, including test classes in packages. package test classes. I hope you're good. Then we have they changed it already. Test classes are. Then non-local. So when you say default, if there are no test classes will be executed. When you say run local test, even though there are no test classes in the change set, all local test classes will be executed. When you say run all test classes, even though the change set doesn't contain any test class, all the test classes, including the test classes in manager packages, will be executed. I hope you're good. I hope you're good. If the change set contain test classes, then there is no difference between default and run local test. If the change set doesn't contain any test classes, there is a difference between default and run local test. I hope you got my point. No, I don't want to run all the test classes. I want to run a specific test class. Give the name of the test classes, only they will run. This situation will be very frequently encountered. First, let me run default validate. And validate. Before we deploy, it's always we should validate. Failed. Why it failed? Code coverage. But when you created there, it's already 100%, right? When you created there, it's already 100%. When I deployed, when it is running with the remaining test classes, now it is not giving 100% code coverage. When I created there, it's 100%. When I'm running with the remaining test classes, it is not giving 100. If it is less than 100, I can increase it. If it is less than 100, I can increase it. But already it is 100. I cannot increase more than this. Already the class which I deployed, they already have test class with 100%. I cannot increase anymore. Then what will you do in that case? Then we say, there is a reason we are going to say, don't run all the test classes. Validate. Run. When I created my class, it is already 100%. When I'm running this with the remaining classes, it's failing. Then in the case, I'll say, don't run all the test classes, run only this specific test class. This is very, very commonly encountered situation. This is what? After validating, what should I do? When I click on deploy, the code will be deployed to production. I hope you're good. Now, sandbox, outbound, change set. Then I deploy to production. In the production, we receive like inbound, change set. Then I need to go for validate. Validate, default, run local test, run all test, run specific test. Then deploy the code. It is always a good practice to validate before you deploy. It is always a good practice to validate before we deploy. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? Clear for everyone? Then this is the concept of deployment using change sets. Deployment using change set. Right. Now, what is the concept we have? Outbound change set, inbound change set. In the sandbox, we create outbound change set, upload to production. When you upload to production, in the production, we receive like inbound change set. When I receive like inbound change set, validate, then deploy. Validate, then deploy. Validate, then deploy. I hope you're good. Clear for everyone? Am I clear? So let us go to the next concept. What is the other way of deployment? The second format we'll try using AND. How to deploy the code using AND. Generally, the companies will use change set or AND. Any one they'll be using. So if you want to deploy using an AND, how do you deploy it? Look at this. If you want to deploy using an AND, we require a couple of files. If you want to deploy using an AND, we require a couple of files. So look at this. First, get the files which you want to. First one, setup. Setup. That change set video I'll upload the old batch video, right? The video was not recorded. The change set I'll upload the previous batch video. Setup. Then we have build, develop, tools, Lightning platform tools, then we have Ant migration tool. Once again, setup, build, develop, tools, Lightning platform tools and toolkits. And here we had Ant migration tools. Then we had download the zip file. Download the zip file. Let the file be downloaded. Second one, we are supposed to download Apache and go to Apache and download the latest version. So what are the two files we are downloading? One is Ant migration tool from Salesforce. Second one is Apache Ant. Setup. Develop. Writing platform tools. And migration. So it is downloaded. Second one, download. download the files. Then we are going to the files are downloaded. This out the both the files are downloaded. Then here we have Apache and extract both the files. What are the zip files we received? Extract them. We download the files, we are extracting. Files are extracted. After extracting the files in the Salesforce, and there is a jar file. What was it? And copy this file. The Salesforce, and there is a jar file called and Salesforce. Copy this file and go to Apache, and then we have library. The library paste. So whatever the and Salesforce jar file was there, copy that file and paste it to Apache and libraries. Apache and library. This is the first configuration you have to do. Then what we are supposed to do? Set the environmental variables. We downloaded, we extracted the and Salesforce jar file is pasted to Apache and library files. Then we are supposed to set the environmental variables. Go to this properties, advanced system settings, environmental variables. So I'm deleting and so I have JIT, Apache, and okay. Now go to environmental variables, new and home. Here I have to give path of the ant. Path of the ant till what? Except the bin folder. Till the bin folder. Excluding the bin folder, whatever the path is there, that is called home. Including the bin, whatever the file we have, that is your path. This is okay. Excluding the bin, home. Excluding the bin, we have to give user variables and home. Including the bin, go to path, edit text. Right, and reset. Similarly, we need to set the Java. So go to the C file, install the Java, go to C drive, program files, Java, JDK. Excluding the bin, it is Java home. Including the bin, I have to put it in path. Are you getting my point? Including bin, you have to put it in path. How do you put it in the path? In the path, we need to give system variables. Already some data will be there. Select the path, edit text, put a semicolon, then give the path of the bin folder of Java. Are you getting? All the bin folder path will be in a single line here. Don't delete it. Already existing, semicolon, add it to the existing. But in the home, you need to create them separately. Java home and home, this is created separately. Path, in the same one, we are going to add bin path, semicolon, Java path, semicolon, XYZ path, semicolon. Then include it. Then how do you know whether they are installed properly or not? Go to command line, Java hyphen. If it is installed properly, we get the version of the Java. Similarly, and hyphen. If the ANT is installed properly, we are getting the version. So once you set the environmental variables, we need to understand whether the paths are set properly or not. So what we have done, Java hyphen version and hyphen version. ANT file you downloaded, you created an environmental variable ANT home. In the user variables, you create ANT home, system variables, path, edit, okay, semicolon, whatever the bin folder is there. Home is without bin folder, path is with the bin folder. Then save it. Come to command line, check out they are available or not. This is the first thing. Once you are done with this, we need to understand three things. One is we need to understand three files. One is build.properties. What is this build.properties? This file will contain the information about the UK. This file will contain the username, password. This file will contain the username, password of the organization, from where you want to fetch the code or to which you want to deploy the code. This will contain username, password of the organization, okay, to which you want to deploy the code or from where you want to fetch the code. So what I will do, I will change the password first for me. Let me change my personal password to your password. Then go to profile. If profile is not allowing all the IP address, what we are supposed to do? If profile is not accepting all IP address, what we are supposed to do? Password plus security token. Password plus security token. You want to avoid the security token? If you want to avoid the security token, what I can give? Network access. I can put my IP address in network access. If I put my IP address in network access, then what will happen? No need of giving any security token. Straight away, I can go with the username, password. So, what is the file we have? Username. My username is development@human8. Then my password, right. What is the URL? login.salesforce.com, because it's a trial account. If it is a sandbox, test.salesforce.com. Max poll, how many connections can we establish? 20. That's a default figure. So properties.build. So what we have? Build.properties file. Build.property file has username, password, and the URL and the maximum connections what we can establish. Username, password, maximum number of connections what we can establish. I hope you're good. Right. Then next one. What are the elements you want to deploy? What are the elements you want to deploy? What are the elements you want to deploy? Or what are the elements you want to fetch? What are the elements you want to fetch? Whatever the elements we want to fetch, they should be defined in package.xml file. What is that package.xml file? This will contain information about all the elements which you want to fetch or which you want to deploy. This will contain information about all the classes or objects or fields which you want to fetch or deploy. Now I am giving here package.xml. The package.xml, right? So we have types, members, star. When I say star, fetch all the classes. What type of element is this? Apex class. Get me all the classes. Then I want to get all the triggers. Members, star. No, you don't want to get all of them. You want to get only few of them. I don't want to get all of them. I want to get only few of them. So let me class nodes, object nodes, constructor nodes. Then I'm giving which pages I want. You don't want all, you want only few, then mention. Are you getting my point? If you want all, star. You don't want all, you want only specific things, mention. Members, what are they? At the same time, customer, employee. So what was this? Package.xml file. Package.xml file will tell which elements you want to fetch or which elements you want to deploy. Which elements you want to fetch or which elements you want to deploy, they should be mentioned in package.xml. Build.property file will contain username, password of the organization to which you want to deploy. Whereas package.xml file will contain contain all the elements which you want to fetch or the elements which you want to deploy. Then what you are supposed to do? We need to establish a connection. Establish a connection between properties and package.xml. So what should I do? Build. In the build, what we are doing? Include properties file, so that we know which environment we are connecting to. Username, password is given. With the help of that, we know which environment we are connecting. Username, password, such thing. Then we want to retrieve the code. What is my functionality? Retrieve code. Right. Retrieve code. Then each operation is what? One target. So what we are doing? Username, sf.username, which is given in properties. Password, which is given in properties. Session ID, with this username password, we get session ID. Server URL, which is given in properties. Max poll, which is given in properties. Are you getting my point? So all these are fixed. Now target. Target means in which folder I want to fetch. In which folder I want to fetch? You told get the code. whatever the code we are getting, where should I store them? I told whatever the code we are fetching, store it to batch 318. Batch 318. Now, where is the package.xml file? The package.xml file is also in batch 318. Now tell me the name of the folder, path of the folder in which package.xml is given. What is the purpose of package.xml? It will tell you which elements we want to retrieve, which elements we want to deploy. So it is asking, boss, which environment? I have to fetch the code to which folder? Where is package.xml? Right. Each one is called as what? Target. Each one is called as target. Okay. What is the name of the target? My code. Now what should I do? Look at the point. Build. We need to give path of this build folder. We need to give path of this build folder. From the build folder, remaining path I have to give. Are you getting? There I gave package.xml, right? Which path I have to give? From the build folder, whatever the path we have, that we have to give. So where is the build? Here it is. From here, give the path. What is that? Batch 318/package.xml. Now move the cursor to this folder. Wherever the build.xml file is there, move the cursor to that folder. How do you move? CD. Now, at which location I am? I am at the location of build. Wherever the build.xml file is there, in that location I am. From this location, what you are supposed to do? And my code. What is my code? Name of the target. And my code. Name of the target. In single go, you will not follow it. 2-3 times when you set the paths, everything, you understand the format. Build was successful. Go back to this 318. You're able to see the classes. All the classes are here. Pages. These are the pages, not all the pages. Specific page, what I told, I'm fetching. Triggers. All the things, right, boss? This is how we are fetching the things. Are you clear? Are you getting my point? There's something wrong with the object. Objects are not fetched. This is how I have mentioned the things. I hope you are good with this. Clear with this one? Now, what you are supposed to do? What you are supposed to? It is not customer. It is customer underscore. That's where the mistake has happened. Okay, now once again I'll repeat. This is for fetching. I want to deploy. How can you deploy? Test example 1, 2. Okay. Now look at the format. What we are supposed to do? Now I gave my path here. I created a folder. Batch 318. Now I need to get package.xml file. What is the purpose of package.xml file? This file will tell what we are supposed to fetch. Now I want to fetch Then we had test example. Test example 1. And how did you write? Apex example 1, Apex example 2. Whatever you want to deploy, mention them. Now tell me what you want to fetch. Package.xml will contain the elements which you want to fetch. Package.xml will tell you the elements which you want to fetch. Then what is the build.xml file? Build.xml file will tell the connection between this. Now I told what is the name of the target I gave? My code. Where is the username? Build.properties. Password? Build.properties. Now in which folder I have? Batch. Now in which folder? I can give a folder name or I can give a path of the folder. I can give a name of the folder or path of the folder. Build file and both are at same location, so I give straight away. Now where was this? This how I saved. Now what should I do? Go to build. What is the path of the build file? Copy the path. You may be at any location. Go to command line. Change the path. Then give and name of the target is Are you getting my point? Build.properties will have username, password, endpoint URL. Package.xml file will contain elements what you want to fetch. Build.properties file, okay. Build file will contain connection between both of them. Each operation is called one target. Then go back to this. No, these are the classes for you. Now what I want to do, these classes I want to deploy. These classes I want to deploy to another org. These classes I want to deploy to another org. Okay. So if I want to deploy to any other org, what should I do? I can change the username password of the org. Okay. I'll just mention the same name, same account, but you can change the properties of the other account. But if you want to deploy, what we are supposed to do, go back to this. We need to define a target. We need to define a target. Deploy the code. Basically, we fetch the code from one org, deploy to another org. Right. So what is the name of the role? Deploy 318. Deploy to 318. Username, password, session ID. Now the point is, where is the code which you want to deploy? Where is the code which you want to deploy? The code is in batch 318. I fetched the code and stored in the batch 318. Whatever the code I fetched from one org, I kept in batch 318. This code I want to deploy. When you want to deploy, they're asking, do you want to run all the test classes? Do you want to run all the test classes? Or you want to run specific test class? Now they're asking, do you want to run all the test classes? Or you want to run any specific test class? I want to run only specific test class. What are they? I want to run. You're supposed to give test 1, test 2. Okay. But I'm giving as 2 separate entities and trying to make it. We'll check it out. So I mentioned here. Go back and request is submitted successfully. We'll see the execution one more time. Just get an idea. Tomorrow we'll see one more time. What was this? Build successfully. Code was deployed successfully. It's the log file. What was the build? The code was deployed successfully. Right? Are you getting my point? So what we are doing, generally from one org, we fetch the code to your local repository. From local repository, we'll push it to production. Sandbox, we'll get it to local repository. From local repository, we'll push it to production. Are you getting my point here? Is it clear for everyone? So using ANT, generally in the organization, we follow ANT. Generally, the organization will go for ANT if it's a big implementation. If you go with a larger implementation, larger volume of implementation, or any version controlling they are using, generally they go with what? ANT. Inbuilt concept is change set. But generally practice is ANT. Generally people will follow ANT procedure. Generally people will use ANT for deployment. Are you getting? So tomorrow I will show once again from scratch. We'll see. Now basically you got an idea about the ANT format. How many files are there? 3 files. What is the first file? Build properties. Second file, package. Third one, build. Build properties will contain username, password. Package will contain which elements. Then we had build. It will create a target connection between package.xml and your build.properties. Okay. Tomorrow we'll see once again from the scratch how to deploy and make it. If you do 3, 4 times, then you understand the steps. Right. It's a very simple procedure, but only thing is you need to set some configurations. Okay. That's all from my end. We'll continue tomorrow. Your change set is not recorded. I'll upload the previous batch video.